start recording. And the third A, accounting. See, what does this triple A means actually? Authentication means who are you? Are you really a part of this organization, or someone from organization give you a permission to connect to this organization? That's he check actually. Authorization. If you are a part of this organization, you are a part of which team, what type of access you have in the organization. Accounting. What you are actually doing in the network.
Mahi, your voice is breaking a little bit.
Oh, is it? Just give me a couple of minutes. Actually, I am attending this session from a hotel. I'm on business travel actually, so there can be some network glitch. So let's perform an initial configuration now.
Yeah, Mahi, I have one question demo this.
See, if you see this ISE was already functioning, let me shut this down. This ISE was having 9.10 IP. I'll give another IP to ISE. A new ISE IP would be okay. And subnet mask is default /24 subnet mask. Gateway is 1.2, which is my switch. DNS server is my AD server. Let's power on this ISE now. Okay, once you log into ISE for initial setup, you will get this type of prompt. Just type a
Yeah,
setup.
I have.
Yeah, tell me. Yeah, you are saying something? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hi, Mahi. This is Kumar.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to know the policy setup basics. So, which type of device we need to configure the policy setup? Like if it is on laptop, we have to configure it at 1x, right? If it is on printer, we have to configure on map.
Yeah, Kumar,
Map.
all the things we'll go
Mm,
through in the course details. See, before
oh,
doing a
okay.
policy setup, you need to know like how the initial setup of ISE done, right?
Hmm.
You cannot just jump into a policies. Whenever you are learning any technologies, suppose you are learning a firewalls, you cannot jump
Hmm.
directly to write IPS IDS or web filtering rules, right? You need to know how the interface is configured, how the zones configured, right?
Yep.
So everything has the initial setup first. So in my
Okay.
last setup, actually, I shown you like what is a .1x and what is map, where we'll use what device will use what type of settings. That was the
Yeah.
overview of everything.
Uh,
But in today's session, we are going with like initial lab setup of ISE. Okay. So when you power on
okay.
ISE,
Okay.
you will get like this type of prompt. Just type a setup.
Uh,
Once you type a setup, it will ask a host name. The host name I am giving is a new ISE.
okay. Okay. Fine.
Then IP address, as we decided, the new ISE IP address is 192.168.1.11. Then it will ask for a subnet mask. Then it will ask for a gateway, I don't want to configure IPv6 as of now. DNS domain lab.com. Primary name server is my AD server. I don't have any secondary name server as of now. NTP is default I am using. I don't have any other NTP server. Then time zone is Asia, Kolkata. I think it's an invalid time zone. 1 minute. There is a specific time zones for ISE. I'll show you the document. Just search here Kolkata or Kolkata. Asia, you will get here somewhere like Kolkata or something. Okay, this is the time zone we need to use if you are using for India. Okay, I want to enable SSH. Yes, username default I want to use as of now. Password we will give. Okay, once we do this, initial ISE configuration will be done. Like we can access ISE via GUI. Okay, but when we do ISE via GUI, it will take some time. Like we need to have application server boot. It will take like couple of half an hour. It will take sometimes. So we need to wait for this setup to run. By the time this setup is done, let me show you how the DNS server is configured. So go to this server. If you see, this server is configured with a lab domain. Okay, so what all services we have on this server? Let's check once. See, I have DSCP configured, I have DNS configured. So without a domain server, we cannot have a DNS server actually. So this is a part of domain server. This is a domain server actually. If you see ADDS, Active Directory Domain Services. Okay, so let's first see what DNS configured. See lab.com forward lookup zone. Okay, I have my forward lookup zone configured. As of now, I did not configure. I think I have reverse lookup zone also configured. Then see what is the DSCP things we have. I will have one DSCP pool for my testing PC. Server pool, user VLAN. If you see, 1 minute, let me maximize this. You see, DSCP pool, we have one scope, user VLAN. Then address pool. The address pool I configured a start address and end address. And it's a basic things how you do a DSCP server configuration. Okay. Then we have some user Active Directory users configured. Users and computers. In this I have like one lab users. I created one new directory. Then we have all default users. Okay. So that's how we did DSCP DNS configuration for ISE. See, for ISE to function, you should have a DNS server mandatory. Without the DNS server, ISE will not function. Okay. Let's see what is our status now. So, yeah, it will take some time. So after the initial setup, what we do actually in ISE? See, as soon as you do a initial ISE setup, you will take a GUI of ISE, right? Once you take a GUI, you will get HTTPS error. What is HTTPS error? It is generally a certificate error, HTTPS certificate error. Just a minute here. What happened? So to overcome this certificate error, first, usually what my suggestion, once you do a initial setup, do a HTTPS certificate installation. Okay. What is this HTTP? It can be your from your organization. You have like server certificate. Yes, this certificate server. You can do it from organization, or else you need to do a third party. You need to purchase a certificate from third party, or you can do it from your MS server, Microsoft server, or if any other open source server also, it's fine. Because this GUI will only be used. GUI certificate will only be used for accessing HTTPS. Okay. After this GUI, we'll do a basic settings like you want to add any network devices in ISE. We can do that things. Then we will start with the policies configuration. Okay. For today's lab, we'll install HTTPS certificate with open source certificate, open source softwares. Then we'll add a network device in ISE. Then we'll do basic policy configuration. We are not going to do a AD integration today. We'll just do a policy configuration with a local user, and we'll check how the .1x works. Okay. Any doubts in this, or any questions you want to ask?
Hey, Mahi, I have a couple of questions.
Raj, your voice is very low actually.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So is this just a demo class or we are covering it in the actual class also?
Sorry, what do you mean?
So is it just the demo class?
Today is a demo class.
Okay, so are we going to cover all this stuff again in the main classes as well?
Correct. We are going to
Oh,
we are going to cover everything from start to end in actual class
yeah,
only.
because I have a limited time today, so I will be leaving in a couple of minutes. Okay, are we going to cover clustering as well in this course?
We are going to do. See, not much clustering.
Oh,
Like if you are looking like eyes on a different nodes, like if you have
mm-hmm.
different personas. See, as we have
Yeah,
in eyes needs a lot of memory, CPU, and everything, right?
exactly. Yeah.
If you are looking like what we say, one persona, admin persona in one node, and policy persona in another node, and MNT persona in another node, that type of
Mm-hmm.
we are not doing. But
So hybrid.
in our
So are we
scenario,
covering hybrid?
we are doing like DCDR setup.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So one eyes will be active and one eyes will be standby.
Yeah, that is okay. Yeah, that is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally, that's how. If you are working for global customers, then you have eyes in
Yes, yes,
multi-deployed mode, or else
yes.
most of the companies in India are doing a standalone mode,
And
DCDR mode.
all these authentication types also we are covering like MS chip and EAP, EAP, TLS, EAP, and PEEP. right?
Yeah, we are covering. See, now most of the protocol, most of the communication is on AIP TLS only.
Yes, 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 yeah.
Yeah, we will cover that. Not an issue.
And last question, are we going to cover this thing like, wipe gateways,
What do you mean VoIP gateway?
access points?
No, no, access points are not possible in a lab. We cannot
Okay,
do wireless simulation.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, you go
Yeah,
any training,
thanks.
wireless simulation will not be possible. You need to have a
Yeah, in
physical
virtual setup,
devices.
it is not possible. Yeah, we
Correct,
will have to have, yeah, okay.
correct. So that's how all the LAN setup and all guest authentications, everything will do postering, profiling, everything will be covering. Apart from this
Okay.
wireless setup, we'll do a WLC communication with ISE. We'll add WLC in ISE,
Mhm.
and we'll show you.
Okay,
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So we are just waiting for ISE to boot. Actually, it will take couple of minutes more. So till then, as someone was asking me in a meeting, like, what is a LIS? Where we use a .1x and where we use a MAB, and where we use a MAB actually. So whatever the devices, example a laptop or a desktop. Someone was saying in the last meeting that some printers are supporting .1x features as of now. So we can use for a printers also .1x if they are supporting. But most of the printers, then we have like cameras. After cameras, we have IP phones. For all these, then we have like machine devices like IT/OT devices. We use a map. So what .1x? Why we use .1x only for laptops, desktops? For laptop desktops to function, we should have some services enabled like wired LAN services, where the user will where the actually .1x authentication will enable. Let me show you. If you see a device like this, not this one. Chalo, let's see this one. Yeah, services.msc. If you see WLAN auto configuration, what provides the logic requires the configuration discover connects authenticate as defined by 802.1 standards. It also connects the logical turn on computers WLAN sync adapters on your computer WLAN sync. So this service what actually do, it will enable authentication services in your computer. Let me show you the part. We will try to disable and enable again, not an issue, so you will understand. You see this particular authentication interface. Authentication, it is having a authentication tab as of now. Let me disable the WLAN services, then we can again understand. It is running as of now, so let's stop this. Okay, it is stopped. Then again let's see. I think we need to restart a computer. Just give me a couple of minutes. Sorry, I'm doing a wireless LAN. Let me do a wired LAN. Yeah, as you see, once we disable a wired LAN services, authentication will not be there. It is not running as of now. This wired auto config, the status is not running, so we will not have authentication tab. Okay, so that's how, if you don't have authentication tab, we cannot write a username password. We cannot do much settings on these things. So let me enable again, then we'll see what all we'll get with this. Okay. Yes, as you see, once I enable this, I get the authentication tab where I can actually enable 802.1x. Okay, then we have like what type of protocols we are using. Microsoft EAP, EAP TTLS, what all we are using, we can select here. Okay, mostly see for EAP you need like EAP TLS, you need other certificate, or if you don't have certificate, you can use a PEEP only. Mostly for lab purpose, I use a PEEP. Then what all settings you have, like if you have certificates got from your organization, you can select to verify the identity with a valid certificate. Then you need to install the root certificate here. Okay, then secure password type. We don't have certificate, we will use MS Trap. MS Trap will pop up a username password. Then if you have like this computer is a part of domain and you want to use the domain credentials, whenever you want to authenticate, automatically use my Windows login and a password, you can select here. These all options you will get in .1x, but with the map you will not get all these options. With the map, the only thing you have is authenticate me with my MAC address. Then user authentication option, you have like user authentication, computer authentication, then user and computer both, guest authentication. You have couple of options. Okay, as of now authentication failed because I don't have the ISE which was running previously. It is shut down now. You see, this was running previously. It is shut down. That's how we use that is the reason we don't use .1x for printers or cameras. It cannot authenticate that devices. .1x will be used, map will be used only for printers and all. We can use a map for .1x or this laptops, desktops also. There is no restrictions for a map, but for .1x we have some restrictions. You cannot use your .1x for the device which is not compatible with the .1x, right? Okay, that's how we use .1x and map. We'll wait for some time. Then let me check if I have. Usually for certificates I use XCA. This is only for my lab purpose. But when we go to a production, we use a Microsoft certificate server or a third-party certificate server. New database. Okay. First create a new certificate, which will be our root certificate. Default to CA. CA means a certificate authority. He can do a signing of all other certificates. Internal name, root CA. Country India. State I am from Telangana. Locality I am from Hyderabad. Organization name, lab, unit IT, common name, let's give root CA. Email ID I will not give any as of now. We'll generate a RSA key. Created. Okay, go to extension, certificate authority, time range, let's give like 3 years. After 3 years I will again need to bind this, create a new root CA, then again need to do a certificate. 1 minute, hold on. Okay, once we create this certificate, There is some error. Wait. Start initial hardware monitoring sensors. Okay. Let me log in again. Let's see what was the error. Okay, this is just a monitoring sensor failed to initialized. We'll see. Okay, so all this application server profile database, everything should be running. It will run in couple of minutes. These are the processes which eyes need to run for everything to function properly. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes. What we were trying, as I created one root certificate. Let me export this certificate. Let me export this in desktop ISE. Oh, oh, oh. Just a minute here. Let me delete all this. Let's create a new folder here. It is not the one. Export this certificate. Okay. So once we export this certificate, we need to import that certificate in ISE. First, let's all the services running, then we can do anything. Any of you worked on certificate bindings in any security device? So yeah, see some things are running now. Mm. So what is the process of any certificate binding actually? Usually in a Cisco, I am saying we need to generate one CSR, which is certificate signing request. Then the certificate signing request you need to export and sign this with the root CA. Sign with a cert server. Okay. Then you need to export this to your laptop or desktop along with the root CA. Okay. This is signed certificate with the root CA. Okay. Before importing this into ISE, the first you need to import a root CA as a trusted certificate. After importing a root CA, you need to import a sign cert. See, before importing a root CA, if you import a sign cert, any device will give a error that we cannot trust this certificate. We don't have root certificate to trust this certificate. Okay. So this is a process we need to follow for any certificate installation. Yeah. So now we have ISE up and running. But if you see, we got HTTPS error, right? As soon as we log in, first we'll do a certificate installation in ISE. Okay, you get like 90 days of a free trial for ISE to run. Accept this. You have all the features to run for 90 days. Then we are going to first get rid of this HTTPS error. Go to certificates, certificate signing request. Let's generate a new certificate signing request. Let's use it for a multi-use or yeah, we'll use it for a multi-use. As of now, I'll select which node I want to create the certificate for. Common name FPTN, okay. Organization unit, IT organization lab, city Hyderabad, Telangana, India. Then subject alternate name, I want to give a IP because I am accessing this ISE from IP as of now, right? Okay. Then RSA key, that's it. Generate this. Okay, this is generated. As I shown you, what is the steps? Generate a CSR, sign CSR with the server. So we need to export and sign this CSR now. Export this CSR, save it somewhere like desktop or somewhere. Okay, go to this CSRs again. First, we will sign this CSR with our devices, with our certificate server. Okay, to desktop, copy this. Is demo. Let me open my certificate software. Import ISE demo. Okay, okay, okay. I imported this in the certificate software. Let's click on this. Sign. For a signing, which certificate I want to use? I want to use a root certificate. What is this purpose? HTTPS server extension. Let's give it like 1 year. Okay, and entity. Okay, okay. Once we signed this, we need to export this certificate now. Again, export this certificate in a demo.
I need to disconnect for 10 minutes because I have to drive into work. I'll be back online in 10 minutes.
No issue. We are recording this,
Yep.
so you can get it. Recording, you can get.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Chat shortly.
So
Thanks.
yeah, once we sign this certificate, we'll import this certificate now. Okay. First, as I told you, first we need to install a root trusted certificate. I'll show you how it happens if you don't install a trusted certificate. What error you will get? Bind a certificate. Choose a file from a desktop. This was a signed certificate, right? Let's do this. As of now, I don't want to use any services for this. Submit. let's see, certificate path validation field. Make sure required certificate chain is imported under the trusted certificate. See, now let's say import the trusted certificate first, then we'll again bind the certificate. Import certificate, choose a file name, root ca. Okay, okay, trust for client authentication, certificate based authentication of Cisco services validation. Okay, let's submit this. Now again just go to CSR and try to bind this certificate. We'll see if it's success or if it's not. Choose a file, new ISE lab, yeah, ISET. Okay, submit. Yeah, now you see there was no error and we got a certificate installed. Now as I install this certificate, I need to have some services bind with this certificate. Let's edit this certificate, then what type of services we need to bind we can decide. As of now I will not use any other things apart from admin because we want to get rid of this HTTPS error, right? If you want to use like for radius also you want to use ape authentication, you can use it. Later we will use that. Once we use for admin, the eyes will be rebooted. Again you will see initial setup will reboot. Let's see. Application is server should be initializing again in some time. Let's wait for some time. This server will again go for initializing, then again come for a running again. Let's wait. You see not running now. It will again go for initializing and come back.